Alright guys, so this is another fanfiction idea involving Totally Spies. I was a little bit on a Totally Spies kick, mostly because, I watched a couple episodes and it made me nostalgic. Not in, a fetishy way. Did anyone else notice how fetishy that show was? I mean, we've all kind of figured it out, but yeah. Anyway. So while I was doing the Ninja Turtles Totally Spies crossover the other night, I kind of had this idea for this story. I actually had this idea pop in there as well. So as you can see, we have Totally Spies versus the Suicide Squad. So there's our story, is that it's the Suicide Squad meeting Totally Spies. So let's get into this. So it's another day, Alex, Sam, and Clover are just hanging out, out in California, and they're just having, a girls' night out, and then they get swooped away to meet with Whoop. But however, there's another person in the building. There's another person who has shown up to meet with the girls. And that person is Amanda Waller. See, Waller's there with Jerry and basically tells them, Jerry gives them the rundown of who this is. This is Amanda Waller. She's the head of Task Force X, and you guys are going to be doing a joint operation with Task Force X. And they're like, Task Force X? What is that? And why are we working with them? And Waller explains there is a island out in the South China Sea, and their government has basically taken something from me. They've basically taken some documents that belong to both Whoop and Checkmate. There's a lot, and other agencies. They basically are yeah, we've stolen this, and now we're going to use it to blackmail the U.S. government and other governments to send us money as well as weapons, so we can be a stronger superpower out in the Asian territories, or we leak all this stuff, all this dirty shit you do with all your governments, and basically destroy you essentially. So that's the task. Is that Whoop and Task Force and Checkmate are doing a collaboration to get the documents back, and in order to do that, the Spies and the Suicide Squad have to work together in order to, get this information back. So so this is where the girls meet the Suicide Squad. And it's Deadshot, Harley, King Shark, Captain Boomerang, Peacemaker, and the KG. Yeah, I wanted to add someone who wasn't in the movies, and that was KG Beast. So yeah, the KG Beast. Well, no, not KG Beast. He is in the story, but we'll bring him up later. It's Rick Flag leading the team. So yeah, there is your team for the Suicide Squad. So immediately the girls are like, "That's Harley Quinn, and that's Deadshot. Those are fucking murderers, and they're Batman villains. Aren't they villains?" And they're like, "Yeah, so Task Force X is made of super villains, and we basically give them parole time in exchange for doing missions for the government." And they're like, "That seems really super shady." And they're like, "It is, but you're gonna have to grin and bear it on this one, girls." So the two teams are sent to this island, and while this is going on, obviously the dictatorship running this island is like, "Look, we know that the governments of the world are going to send obviously someone to try to take us out. That's going to be that's coming. There is no way around it. Is that they're going to send somebody to try to take us out, and we got to hit them first. That's our plan, is to hit them first, and we got to have some defense as well." So that's why they hire the KG Beast. Yeah, KG Beast is their big agent to use, and they also hire Copperhead. They also get Parasite. They get Livewire. They get a few villains of their own to protect the island, along with their military. And they're like, "Yeah, we knew our military couldn't if we knew that Waller was going to be the one to send, obviously, Task Force X, and we couldn't take on supervillains unless we had some supervillains of our own. If we needed some metahuman muscle in our corner as well. So that's why we hired this team. You know, that's why we hired these villains. So along the way, the two teams are obviously not really getting along. They're because Sam and Clover especially are like, yeah, these guys are monsters. They're you're killers. You're all of that. And like Rick Flag is like, I don't have to answer to you. I don't have to do any of that. The only thing I have to do is my mission. That thing you have to do. And she's like, Jerry would never put us in a situation where we're killing people. And he's like, and that's when Flag goes, not yet. See, it's like, yeah, Jerry may seem like a cool guy, and Peacemaker goes, he looks like a tool. He's not, he doesn't fight for peace like I do. And and they're like, what is your definition of peace? And Peacemaker goes, to kill every man, woman, and child in the name of it. And they're like, okay, he's a ball of crazy, moving on. What were you saying, Rick? So Rick Flag basically explains that, like, there's going to come a moment where Jerry's going to ask you something that you're not going to like, and you're going to have to decide for the betterment of the world or for yourselves. And I can already tell what route you'd go if Jerry asked you to cross that line. And they're like, yeah, Jerry would never ask us to cross that line. And Rick Flag is like, we'll see. We will see. Now, obviously, Alex, on the other hand, Alex thinks the squad is pretty fun. Can you guess which two members she's bonding with the most? Out of all of them, who can you guess she's really bonding with out of the two of them? She is straight up bonding with Harley and King Shark the most. Because, like, Harley she thinks is kind of cool. Like, you're so awesome, Harley. And Harley's like, thanks, I always love meeting fans. And King Shark is like, you funny. I like it. Me like you. And Alex is like, I like you too, King Shark. Do you want a hug? I love hugs. Can I eat you? No. Yeah. So when they arrive, they are about to do a drop, and they get hit from one of Livewire's lightning bolts. The plane goes down. They're forced to bail, and when they land, the spies pull out all of their gear, and they're like, and the squad is like, what the fuck? They're just the squad thinks that the girls have like this just completely stupid gadgets, and they're like, well, what do you guys use? Oh, these things called guns. and what about Captain Boomerang? He didn't use guns. I use a boomerang, mate. Way more lethal. And Rick goes, keep telling yourself that. Anyway, so the team does get ambushed by the villains. They have to fight their way through, and eventually they do get to the operations base. And along the way, they discover that the Suicide Squad are really what they are. They are complete and total assholes, and they are complete and total monsters, killing, in King Shark's case, eating people. So eventually when they get there and they get the when they get to the dictator's base and his HQ and get the documents back, that's when Rick Flag murders them, and that's when Clover is the one who looks through the document, looks through the stuff to see what they have on Whoop, and that's when she discovers that Whoop was more or less helping them manufacture weapons alongside organizations like Hive and Cobra, not G.I. Joe Cobra. There's a DC Universe Cobra. Essentially, what they were doing was co-working with these terrorist organizations to better fund their organization because they were off the books, and in exchange they were doing a tech swap essentially, and that's most of their gear is modified versions of weapons that were created by Hive and Cobra and even the League of Assassins. So you can obviously see why Jerry was kind of prudent on getting that back. So by this point, they're like, well, return this stuff. And even Jerry's like, girls, this, I didn't want you to see this, but like, you gotta bring this back. And I never wanted this for you guys. Unfortunately, the girls are like, no, this is wrong, and we're not coming back until you fix this. And by this point, Waller's like, well, if they're not going to do it, my squad is, and if your girls get in the way, I'll have them killed. And yeah, that's where the versus in this Suicide Squad versus Totally Spies crossover begins, because yeah, the squad immediately turns on the girls, and Alex is like, aren't we friends, King Shark? Yes, me, lot of friends. So fight breaks out, and obviously the girls are outnumbered, and they're but they're not outskilled. Like, they actually prove that with their gadgets and with their own training, they are capable of the three of them are capable of holding their own against the Suicide Squad. Not directly, because they do realize, oh shit, they're going to kill us, and we need to leave. So they escape. They get a boat out of there and return to Whoop with the documents, and they just set them on fire right in front of Waller. And she's like, "You are going to pay for this." And they're like, "Bring it on." So obviously, their trust with Jerry is kind of hurt, but by the end of it, they're like, we'll stay on, but there's going to be some changes around here, Jerry. And Jerry's, of course, like, yeah, I understand. So anyway, so there's your story. Hope you all enjoyed this. You guys comment below, what did you guys think of it? Other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.